Just imagine, um, the owner, and his kids survived, and innocent kids of other families, they all passed away. This is a very heartbreaking and traumatic experience for the parents, bro. It's like, how did it even happen? The driver survived, and the little, I don't know if it's a sister or a boy, survived, and the two other kids didn't even go to school that day.
Y.A.D Torture.
What's up, everybody? I hope you guys are doing good. Today we have a very interesting video. We got Brian's Junior World in the building. People are furious after the shocking twist in the Vaal accident. What just happened? There's actually a twist. Let's tap in.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think you guys are ready for the recent shocking developments that have come out regarding this entire Vaal Car taxi accident, because we do know the children who had tragically passed away were laid to rest just a few days ago. However, recent shocking news has spread a lot of light in regards to who exactly was this 22-year-old driver, and more shockingly, who were the children that survived this crash.
Just moments before Y.A.D entered the dock for the first time since his arrest, the public learned of the deaths of 2 more learners from that tragic scholar transport accident. This meant that Dludla, also known as Biggie, now faces 14 counts of murder.
We've been charged with 14 counts then of murder, 3 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of operating a motor vehicle without a certificate of fitness, 1 count of driving without a professional driving permit, 1 count of driving an unlicensed
This nigga has a lot of charges. Damn.
motor vehicle.
Because it seems like in a bizarre twist of fate, all 4 children of the man who now owns the minibus taxi that was involved in the collision have reportedly survived. Jimmy Vinga's son, who is Y.A.D the 22-year-old who was driving the taxi that day, as well as his schoolgirl daughter, was also a passenger in the taxi, were the only 2 in the vehicle who were not killed in Monday's crash. However, the story would get even crazier because Vinga's 2 younger daughters, who also usually traveled in the taxi, did not go to school that day. You see, one of them was reportedly suspended from school, while the other just decided on a whim to not go to school that day and instead stay at home.
Guys, the latest on this Vaal taxi crash? My jaw is still on the floor. Sunday Times described it as a bizarre twist of fate, and they are spot on. So we know the death toll was revised to 12, but then 2 other learners ended up succumbing to their injuries in hospital. Only 1 learner survived, and that is the daughter of the driver in that crash, 22-year-old Y.A.D. But wait, there's more. Y.A.D's father owns the taxi. His 2 younger children were also supposed to be in that taxi, but they didn't go to school that day. One was suspended and the other just didn't go to school.
I mean, if you think...
What? Nah, this is shocking.
All of this was crazy, Uvinga would continue giving us behind the scenes information about what exactly happened after this accident, especially regarding his 22-year-old son. You see, in an emotional interview with the Sunday Times, Uvinga said that his disorientated son had called him just moments after the crash, and that he in turn had told the parents of the children who were passengers in the taxi about the accident in a WhatsApp voice note. I mean, literally, of all the places these parents could have found out that their children had been involved in an accident, why WhatsApp? Why not call these parents, or at least get them in a WhatsApp group call? But anyway, it seems like the law was very quick to act, because Dludla has now been charged with 14 counts of murder, as well as attempted murder, and also driving without a valid license, and also driving an unlicensed vehicle. However, according to a number of reports, he has just decided to avoid bail at any means necessary, because he has not applied for bail. And you can probably imagine why he's taking this decision, because he does realize the pain he's caused so many families and so many people around South Africa, he's definitely not going to be safe outside of jail, which I'm not going to lie is probably the best decision he could have taken.
Luga then abandoned his bail application when he made his appearance today with his head hung low and speaking softly, prompting the magistrate to urge him to speak a bit louder.
However, if you thought the shocking news would end there, he had another thing coming, because Uvinga, the guy who owns this taxi, is also the deputy chair of the Gauteng Education Transport Services, and even crazier is that he's a pastor at the African Emmanuel Assemblies of God Church in Sebokeng. And he did say in this interview, look, he had only rekindled the relationship with his son only 2 years ago, and that making him a driver was how he was trying to rebuild the relationship with him. And he continued to say, look, he's a good boy. Everything that's being said about him is nothing but lies. He is very humble, cool, and a calm, collected person. He doesn't even drink alcohol. You see, when I saw him at the scene, he looked like he had lost his mind. He was continuously crying non-stop and apologizing to me, saying, Uti, I know you wanted to build a good future. I mean, the guy continued to say, Uti, when they got home, his son's first instinct was to go and apologize to the families. But you can obviously imagine Uti coming out of an earth-shattering event like this is enough to make a grown man stay up at night. Because he did continue to say Uti was haunted by grief as well as unanswered questions about the crash, and that he had stayed at home since the accident, as he did not know how to explain what had happened to the public, just hoping that they forgave him, saying, Uti, I can't sleep and I'm not okay. But he did, however, say he had been supportive of him and that people genuinely loved him. My neighbors have been coming around to comfort me. I help so many people. I keep saying to God, why would you allow the devil to win when I pray so much and keep your word? What is your purpose? And these are obviously the words of a man who is most likely going through the most. But I do just want to put into perspective, if this man can have sleepless nights and all of his children survived, you can only imagine the horror, the psychological horror a lot of these mothers and fathers are going through who lost their children genuinely.
Just imagine, man. The owner, and his kids survived, and innocent kids of other families, they all passed away. This is a very heartbreaking and traumatic experience for the parents, bro. It's like, how did it even happen? The driver survived, and the little, I don't know if it's a sister or a boy, survived, and the two other kids didn't even go to school that day. Is it a coincidence, or is there something behind it? You guys can comment down below and tell me what you guys think. It's really interesting.
We need to be praying for these parents. But I'm going to say, apart from the theatrics of this entire case and a lot of the media coverage that has come with it, it genuinely is refreshing to see that Y.A.D, the 22-year-old driver, was quite honestly remorseful in his court appearance. We do know that for a lot of narcissistic people out there, their first instinct is to defend themselves, is to say that they weren't in the wrong. It was other people who were to blame, but I saw nothing but genuine remorse from this guy. And you can honestly tell a lot of people genuinely do feel sorry for him because they know that it wasn't his intention to unalive these children that day. You can quite honestly tell that.
Yeah, obviously, like, he wouldn't just want to kill school kids. It was definitely reckless driving, and it happened that an accident took place, which is kind of sad.
That Y.A.D never meant for what happened that day to happen, but unfortunately, he has to face the consequences for his actions. But I'm glad that he's a man who is not backing down from those consequences because he knows that there's nobody else to blame but him. See, on the other side of justice and on the other side of the law, there is no comfort to the parents because their children are never coming back. That's the biggest hurt regarding this entire case. But to see that the person who is responsible for that hurt also feels that burden as well and isn't shying away from it, is quite honestly refreshing. You know, many people are going to start coming up with conspiracy theories saying, how is it possible that the owner of the taxi's children survived but the others didn't? And I just want to say, Guti, if anything, it's a silver lining that there were any survivors in this accident, especially another child. What we can do right now is keep the parents in our prayers and hope that they do find some sort of comfort in these difficult times.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's a really sad story, man. You know. Um, I I'm also thinking, how did it actually happen? How did they survive? Yeah, it's just a lot going on in my mind right now. But you guys comment down below and tell me what you think. You know, RIP to the kids. Send our condolences to the families. It's a really tough situation for sure, man. And some of the kids were young, like starting school, grade 1. Hey, man. Comment down below. I'm a tap with you. Love you. Take care.